Conversations with Marc and Devi, the mediums. Marc Stuart, the Scottish medium, and Devi Wolf, the smallest medium. Conversations on topical subjects. On subjects other mediums would not dare talk about, but we do. For a quick reading, we can talk to spirits now. Scottish style mediumship.
Hello,
Hi,
everybody. It's me and her again, or her and me. Take your pick.
Yeah. Him and me, and the cat, of course. She loves to be on TV, yeah.
Yeah. You may have noticed we're not putting the subject matter up in the intro. I am going to put a title up with the intro, but today's just been one of those days.
It was one of those days we just didn't get everything done we needed to do.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about advice from mediums that when mediums are not qualified to be giving the advice.
Exactly.
So that's a big bombshell topic for anybody that's watching. In the meantime, however, it's, you know what? It's time for the news and information. So, big major event happened in the world that probably has escaped everybody that isn't a hardcore, and I mean really hardcore, science fiction fan. There's a man called J. Michael Straczynski. Now, personally, I rate him as a modern day Da Vinci or a modern day Shakespeare. Why do I say that?
Not good.
Yeah, he is. He is, seriously.
I don't think so. Well, that's a matter of opinion. Good.
Yeah, but in my opinion, he is. Basically, the entire television network all changed about 15 to 20 years ago. Right. When programs went from episode format to stories across. Now, it didn't just come in slowly. It happened with a big bang. This was the man that invented it all. And he did it on a scale that outdoes anything that anybody has ever done since. He wrote one story over 5 years, 20 episodes a year, and it literally was one story. If you go back and watch the episodes, there are one-liners in episodes of the first season that turn into major plot elements.
Major plot or in the last season, absolutely.
Yeah. And Devi's criticizing, saying that it was not a television series.
No, I'm not. He was good. I agree. He was great, but not on the level of Da Vinci or Michelangelo.
No, I said Shakespeare.
Or Shakespeare, either one. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, Shakespeare was a comedian writer in his day, and I love Shakespeare. A lot of that is, they don't even understand what was going on back then. So anyway. What's the connection to this in spiritualism, and what's the news? Well, it's a very spiritual television program. It covers everything: reincarnation, hauntings, spiritual power, universal spiritual power, guardian angels. It's all in science fiction, but it's all in there. Now, I watched this when I was in my early 20s, so we're going back near enough 40 years. Old. And the TV series has dated. So I would highly recommend you go and watch it if you can find it. But the special effects were incredible for the time, but now are dated. Saying that, there's one episode that's got more spaceships in a battle than any other movie, any other TV series or movie has ever come close to doing.
Dear Mark, you have not told the general public what this TV show is.
I want to get them excited before I tell them what it is.
Very excited. We're all excited. Now they're all wondering, what do I have to watch?
Babylon 5. It's summary. It's human beings get into a war. We lose the war because the people that are about to exterminate us surrender to us. They surrender to us because they discover that they are being reincarnated. Their souls are being reborn in humans. So they're about to exterminate themselves. And that's just the minor plot to the series.
So the kind of overarching plot.
Yeah. So the humans build this station called Babylon 5. Numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 get destroyed, disappear, go back in time. All sorts of things happen. Number 5 is the one that survives. All the major powers put ambassadors there, and every character is not what he appears. There's one character, for example, appears as a comedian, and he ends up as a mass murderer, and we're talking Hitler-style mass murder. So
I guess Mark froze. So anyway, what he's trying to say is go watch Babylon 5. That's a great thing. Now, unfortunately, Mark here is actually in control of all the background and what we're doing. And he has more news and more pictures and things like that, but he is not available at the moment. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here. He may have to log out, in which case we'll be back. But there he is. But I can't hear you, Mark. We can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh God, the camera's broken again.
Oh no.
Can you hear me?
What? Now you froze again. Oh, technical difficulties. That's kind of how this day is going. Absolutely, 100%. I'm still dealing with a sick husband, and Mark has had Mercury in retrograde moments all day, even though Mercury is not in retrograde. And Mark, you're still frozen. This is kind of funny.
Can you hear me?
Excuse my cat. Oh, I heard you for a second.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, you're going to have to listen to me without seeing me, I'm afraid, because my camera's just gone kaput completely.
Oh dear, time for a new camera.
So, to get back to what I was talking about, there have been rumours for the last 3 years that JMS, that's what everybody calls them in the industry, has been trying to remake Babylon 5, modern special effects, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And Warner Brothers, who own the rights to it, have said no. But there's a rumour that it's not a rumour, he has relocated from America to the United Kingdom. He's got a working permit, so he's planning on doing something. At the same time, the BBC and Disney, who co-produced Doctor Who, another great science fiction series, are rumoured to be looking for a new producer. And JMS is a huge Doctor Who fan. So everybody's putting 2 and 2 together and implying that there's a big bit of news might be coming up soon. So that's the news. Basically, just go and watch Babylon 5.
Go watch Babylon 5 and then await the new one. It could be a few years, but that's great.
So we talked about last bit of news. We talked about me buying a flying camera. Well, we went out hopefully trying to use it for the first time at the weekend in one of our walks on Sundays, only to discover that we had to apply to the owner of the property for permission to use it. So although I'm fully licensed drone pilot, I still haven't had a chance to use it. We then went somewhere else. So here's a very short video of one of our walks on Sunday coming up soon. So here we are coming to the castle along the beach on the wrong side.
Ooh.
So that's Blackness Castle, which is...
Blackness Castle?
Yeah, Blackness Castle, which is 10 minutes drive from where I stay. Literally, you just go out the front door, turn right, turn right, turn right, turn left, turn right, and you're at the castle.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so I'm just dropping that for Devi because she fantasizes about castles, and I've got them everywhere.
I love castles, so when I visit Scotland, you're going to take me around to all the castles.
Yeah. Now, the other bit of news, basically, we are making a big change to the way we do things. Not so much in the way we do things, but in what we're doing. This is our major streamed event that we do every week. We make a lot of content from this, like short videos that go on TikTok, which if you watch TikTok, go have a look. But we're about to start producing this as a podcast as well. So if you just want to listen to us and not watch us, very soon you'll be able to do that as well. Okay, well, that's the news over. Unless you've got anything else to add, Devi?
I finally got the pictures back from that mini Highland cow shoot, and they're great. Soon to be on website near you.
Soon to be on our next podcast.
On the next podcast. Well, maybe on a website before that. Well, we'll see how busy we get.
Okay, folks, so back to the main subject. So, what are we talking about? Well, everybody's seen it. If you go around mediums, you will come across mediums that suddenly start diagnosing you, or suddenly start giving you legal advice, or suddenly start giving you advice about some area that they think they know about and they're not qualified to talk about. Every medium does it. I mean, it's impossible, because spirit come forward and give you well, no, let me rephrase that. Not every medium does it. Every medium that gets real, that can interpret real messages from spirit does it. But it's shades of grey. It's one thing to say to somebody, have you got a sore arm? And they say, yes, I've got a sore arm. And you say to them, well, thank you for confirming what spirit are telling me. Do you know what's causing the sore arm? Yes, I was at the doctor's this morning and they said it was a whatever it was. And then you say, well, spirit are saying it was your fault. That's not diagnosis.
No, that's not diagnosis.
Yeah, but that's getting it's getting something that a medium could, if they don't know what they're doing, could, without qualifying it, could turn around to the patient could turn around to the sitter, the client, and say, spirit are telling me that you've got a fungal infection in your arm and you have to go have it amputated and save your life. Now, I know that sounds ludicrous.
I do actually have a medical background, but I certainly don't diagnose or tell people that. The most I will say is you need to get that checked out, go to a doctor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Period.
Now, then again, I mean, another area would be legal. I am not a lawyer, and I don't pretend to be a lawyer, but there are certain areas I know the law about, mainly because I've got a business background and I've had to learn the law. So there have been lots of situations where spirit come to me, show me something from my past so that I immediately know what I'm talking about. I will then say to someone, I mean, here's an example of a real one that I did. I said to a woman, do you own a property, or is there a relative that owns a property and you need control of it, or you need to reassure somebody that they can stay in it, and you need to protect them so that if you were to sell the property or die, etc. And she said, yes, my mother. She owns a house, she wants to give it to me, but she's terrified that if she gives it to me that I could throw her out of the house. I mean, but she's an elderly woman. So there's a very legal little spit in Scottish law called a life rent, where you can basically give somebody a rental contract that lasts for the duration of their life with no rent being paid. And effectively, you could die, you could sell the property, you could do whatever you want. The person living in the property has the right to stay in the property until they die. So I explained this to the sitter, and she said, oh my God, that's wonderful. I said, go see a lawyer to draw one up, don't do it yourself. And she did, and she got it set up and it solved the problem. Now, that was not me giving advice. That was me telling about something that I knew about.
Right.
And it was relative to what she was doing.
Right, exactly. So if somebody comes to me and I'm feeling that they have something like fibromyalgia like I do, or I'm being told that, I will ask them if they have muscle soreness and stiffness and trouble sleeping and other other kinds of symptoms. And if they say yes, I will say, I have the same symptoms and I've got fibromyalgia. Could that be it?
Exactly.
But that's, if it's something I know nothing about, some disease I know nothing about, I certainly won't say a word. I'll just say, go to the doctor.
Yeah. Now, why do you walk away from mediums that don't act in this way? Well, for two reasons. Number one, you're being given advice by somebody that's not qualified to give you advice. I mean, for the sake of argument, I had an argument with Ying, my wife, a couple of days ago. She's a podiatrist, and we've got a clinic, and we've got lots of big prints. You'll see them on my website, because I bought the maps to scan them to put them on the website. But we've got the actual maps, about 30 of them. And these are big, sort of huge things. We've put them in frames, and they've been sitting in the clinic intending to go on the wall, because I've just never got around to find a handyman to get them in and do it. My wife says, get up and go and do it herself. So we've now got this big hole in the wall where she was trying to get the nail in, and she didn't manage to get the print up. I mean, I said to her, darling, don't do this yourself. Wait for the tradesman. And she's given up waiting for me to get the tradesman. So she's decided to do it herself. And I would trust her with my nails, but I wouldn't trust her with a nail. I would trust her with the nails on my feet, but I wouldn't trust her with the nails in the wall. So
no, if she can do the nails on your feet, she can also do the nails on your hands.
Yeah, but not on the wall.
but not the wall.
Yeah.
Whereas I can't do either of those, but I'm really good at nails in the wall.
Well, fly over to Scotland and we'll
I'll hang them. Yeah, there you go.
Or just, you know, when you get on the airport, just drive along the bypass and down past the Roslin Chapel, and we're the next on the right. Something like that.
Sure. I'll remember those directions. Not a problem.
But the biggest problem is actually for the medium. So if you yourself are a medium and you have a tendency to do, like, for example, you get an overwhelming bit of knowledge that you know the client's got cancer. Now, the client may well have cancer. You still keep your mouth shut.
No.
Because there was a medium, or there is a medium, I don't think she's trading as a medium anymore, in New York State, who diagnosed one of her sitters with cancer. Sitter went away and got every test under the sun to test her for cancer. And thank God she didn't have cancer. She got a complete bill of health. She then went, after seeing the doctors, to see a lawyer, and she sued the medium. Now, sued the medium for about $30,000. Now, this is a long time ago, many years ago. So
it was her medical expenses that she sued for.
Yeah. Exactly. And she got awarded, and the medium had to pay the medical expenses. Now, this was many years ago, so inflate that to modern prices. If the medium gives advice, if they don't know what they're doing, they can get sued. Now, there is one thing you should do if you are a trading medium, and that is explain explicitly to the sitter when they sit down, that's why they're called sitters, because they're sitting down, that you are an entertainer. And regardless of what you do, regardless of what the religious beliefs are between the two of you, regardless of any advice that you give, you basically say words to the effect of, preferably in writing, do not pay any attention to any advice I give you because I'm here for entertainment, and go away and get it checked out before you do anything.
I do a little sign on my table when I'm doing fairs. Yeah,
words to that effect. When I'm doing fairs, I basically hand them a sheet of paper and get them to sign it. But I am extreme. I don't do it in private sittings, but my private sittings, if you do one with me on Zoom, I've got a big notice that comes up on Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Video, and I record all the readings, and I give the video to the sitter, so they can't come back at me and say, but you never told me. Well, here it's in the video. Right. Here's me saying it in the video. Anyway, there's not really much to say about this. You know, I mean, if you're getting a medium, and if they're saying and doing things that clearly they don't know what they're talking about, walk away from them or go get a lawyer. If you're a medium, don't do it, and protect yourself, like we said, with that sort of little bit up front. Anything to add to that?
Basically just, and that includes advice about anything you don't know about, really. Unless it's coming directly from spirit, don't give somebody directions or advice that you make up in your head.
Yeah.
If the reading is about some legal problem that you know nothing about, don't make it up. If the reading is about what tool do I use for this, if you don't know anything about tools and you don't hear it from spirit,
and even if you hear it from spirit, protect yourself by saying, look, I don't know anything about putting nails into walls like my wife, who is a self-proclaimed expert, but I'm seeing a spirit with a hammer and a nail banging the nail into the wall. Does this make any sense to you? Yes, I need to get a new hammer. Well, there you are.
Right, exactly.
Okay, folks. Right, so that's our training over. That's our advice over. We should have covered this in the news section, but that's the end of the current theme of talks we're doing on what makes Marc angry, as in things that mediums do that really, really, really irritate me. We've covered a lot.
Marc's not going to be angry anymore. Isn't that exciting?
Well, yes, I am, because we've got a new theme coming up, and it was Devi that chose this one, actually. I went along with it.
Right. Feminism and spirituality. in spiritualism.
Yeah. Correct. The background to this is quite there's really two things to the background to this. Number one, the number of women in spiritualism, both as sitters and mediums, outnumber men. Now we have kind of covered this. Yeah, we have covered this in a few talks before, but it really is a basic. I mean, anybody out there that's involved in spiritualism, you might not have noticed it, but if you open up your eyes and look around, you will notice it. I go to a church, I'm on the platform, I'm lucky, and I stress lucky if, let's say, the congregation gets up to 40 or 50, there's more than 3 men in the congregation. And usually at least one of them is there because their wife or partner dragged them there.
Usually, yeah.
Stage, yep. In fact, it's even more extreme in the stage. I once did a performance in Glasgow. There was one man in the audience and he was drunk. I mean, literally drunk.
Probably wandered in by mistake.
Yeah. Correct. Mediumship, it's not mediums. It's not so extreme. We did some research. Kalich Marketing, which is our marketing division of the business that specializes in mediumship, did some research, and it came back with a nice little accurate figure of 68% of mediums are females. Mm-hmm. So round it up and down by an error margin, say of 2%, you can basically say 70% or 2 out of every 3 mediums are female. I actually think it's probably bigger than that, because when you go to a church and you count on a weekly basis the different mediums in Scotland that come, because remember, every church in Scotland has a different medium every week for every service. Usually I would say the females outnumber the males by about 5 to 1 in the mediumship side.
I think maybe more than that in the US. It's the males that become famous.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But yes, probably more than that.
If you could see my smile at that statement.
Smile, of course.
That's the first thing that's driving this. Now, the second thing is what's been going on in specifically America, not the rest of the world. Again, I mean, if you're a woman, you know what we're about to talk about. Mr. Trump, Roe versus Wade or
Roe versus Wade? Yes, they overturned it,
and right-wing politics, traditional family.
They want women to be submissive and pregnant in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. So, mediumship, spiritualism has always been female-dominated. Not all the great historical characters are female, but the majority of mediums were female if you look through history. So we're not really investigating why, but we're taking that and we're transposing that into the modern world. So the feminism angle is if you want to protect yourself as a woman, you get an income. That's the first starting point for anybody that wants independence anywhere. Mediumship is a very quick way for a lady, a man, a woman, anybody to get a skill. Trying not to be sued for racism by man, but so basically we're taking feminism as in economic power, as in men are the endangered species, and we're throwing it all together for about the next 3 months. And yes, the subject is that big. We're going to cover it for 3 months.
Yes, a lot of different topics we've got.
Yeah,
exciting things.
Yes, and talking about exciting. In case you haven't seen it, go to markstuartmedium.com/network. So that's the branding that we put up at the beginning. That's sort of like Marc Stuart Medium Network for Marc Stuart Medium training and all the rest of it.
Right.
We're widening the formats that we go in. YouTube is still the major place to look at video history. But like we said, we're doing podcasts, we're doing TikTok. We still do Facebook, but a lot of the material on Facebook, because we're doing it live, gets deleted. Right. And we're trying to get into other platforms, other formats. A lot of it comes from what we're doing tonight. This will end up in various different formats, but we're trying to reach a wider audience and give people more than one way to plug into us. So go and have a look at that website, markstuartmedium.com/network, and have a good look around. I did a lot of work on that website. That's why I'm so tired at the minute, and my camera.
Yeah, he's done a lot of work in the past couple of days.
Yeah. Okay, folks. Well, that's it for this week. Let me just run through the usual. If you want to register for future events, register for the newsletter. If you would like a reading, we'll give you a reading now if you log on to that logo down at the bottom. please subscribe wherever you see us. Follow us, specifically on YouTube, but also on Facebook. And we're on multiple pages on Facebook. You'll find a full listing on the network page. If you would like to come to our next training circle, free of charge for your first visit, Calendly, # Marc Stuart Medium, # open-circle-workshop. We are going to be doing a lot more Marc and his cards over the next 3 months.
Yes.
All the cards selected have a common theme of feminism.
So, no, well, they don't have that. Not all of them have that theme, but they're about women.
Well, they're goddesses. There's Britney.
Well, not all of them. You picked Britney Spears, so
Is she not feminist?
What? She's not my favorite now.
Okay. That's about it, folks. So, if anybody wants a reading, log on now. If you've got any questions, send us a message now, because we're about to end the stream. So, yes. Apologies for the echo on the closing video. We've been trying to change up, smarten up the intro and the exit. You might not be able to make out what we're saying, but then again, who am I to say you won't?
What if you can't understand him? Like, leave us a note, because I'm telling him he needs to lose the echo.
She tells me everything. Feminism.
I do.
Okay, folks, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully, you'll see me next week, if I can get my camera working.
And hopefully, my cat Mala will not attack me. And be all over me during the next week.
Okay. Been a pleasure, everybody. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
The Marc Stuart Medium Network. Full details at marcstuartmedium.com/network. Uniquely Scottish humour, covering the multiple topics of spiritualism on multiple platforms in multiple formats.